In this video, I want to think about visualizing multiplication and division. So we'll switch over to a Cartesian grid, and what I want to be able to do is think in terms of areas instead of the number lines, which is why we have a Cartesian grid here. So let's start with a very basic problem. Let's start with the problem of 3 times 5. While we all have memorized our multiplication tables, it's very helpful to think of this as 5 plus 5 plus 5, which is very different from the problem 5 times 3, which is 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. One more time. Now, on a grid, we can visualize what exactly multiplication is. It's always good to think of it in terms of this. If I had 5 things, and we'll just use unit blocks here. If I had 5 of them, which we have right here, and then I take another stack of 5, and then another stack of 5. If I count up the blocks that I have here, I have 15 blocks. It's good to think of the blocks as square units. So what I have here are 15 square units. So right now we're simply multiplying two numbers, but if it had been 3 centimeters by 5 centimeters, we would actually be calculating an area which would be equal to 15 centimeters squared, sometimes called square centimeters. Now if I do the problem 5 times 3, it's telling me to do something very different. Instead of adding 5 3 times, I'm adding 3 5 times. We all know the answer will be the same, but let's make sure we can visualize that. So here are 3 blocks, and I'm going to add one more. So now we'll add another. That's up to 3. We've added it 4 times, and now we've added it 5 times. If we count up the blocks, once again, we have 15 blocks. So we can see that while adding 5 3 times is very different from adding 3 5 times, we get the same answer of 15 square units in both cases. Okay. Now, division is very useful to think about in terms of these areas as well. Since it's repeated subtraction, as we saw in our last video, if I wanted to figure out what 12 divided by 4 was, I might want to take something that is 4 units wide, and I'll keep going until I've got a total of 12 blocks. And what can I do? I can take out 4 blocks. Once, twice, 3 times. So what we have here is an area that is equal to 12 square units. I had said blocks before, but we could just equal as well have said units. And we have a width that is 4 long. And we all know from multiplication, if this was 4 units long and it were 3 units high, the area that we would get would in fact be 12 square units. But you can see here by subtracting the width of 4 3 times, I'll get to a total of 12. So when you're thinking of division, think about the number being divided as the area, and you're figuring out how many times you could subtract out a width, or conversely you could think of how many times you're subtracting out a height in order to get the other side that's missing. So quick review. In multiplication, we can think of the two numbers as side 1 and side 2. And when we multiply and get the product, that will give us the area. When we're doing a division problem, we're given the area in one of the sides, and the result will give us the other side. Thinking in terms of areas when doing multiplication division is extremely helpful when you get to higher level math. So it's a good practice to start doing now.